Oh, welcome. I'm gonna do a building video today about making a teleporter, a Rotaro Teleporter frame. Looks like this. I can show it under here. It's a standing arm frame and concept with a locked 60 degrees camera angle. It's a fast drone and it's amazing to fly. And I'm gonna make a video on how to put it together because it might be tricky. It's not a lot space in here. But this one is using an HV Hobby Wing stack, but the stack is ripped off, and like those pins are ripped off, and I'm using the cable, as you can see here. So, and I'm also using some custom 3D printed parts to get it in here. But we have a new writing on it, and we have some extra space, 1.5 millimeter more. Not a lot, but it will make a lot. And there's also some new holes which are made in, so you can continue and you can screw the stack from top. You can also unscrew it from just taking off the canopy, so it's easier access. It has a front and back now. This is what we came upon. This is the bottom plate. This part here is the back, so when you're dragging out your RX antennas, then it will have an angle going with it, so it doesn't like this one. You can see it's really hard to make them go from each other. So the first thing you need to do with this frame is to tape the bottom plate, because it's going to be tight and you're going to squeeze it down. So let's start with this. I will probably cut out the parts where I'm doing all of this kind of crap, because it's kind of boring to watch. I don't have a scissor. Parts I'm going to use on this one is an Aikon AK32 bit. It's rated for 6L and more or less the best 6-in-1 or 4-in-1s you can go with if you want to run 6S. 6S is always fun. And I'm going to use this spring, the Helio Spring FC, new one. Has an F3 for running the filters and an F4 for the rest of the processing. So you can run 32-32. So it's 32-32 with 32 bits. Means D-shot 1200. That will be good. Start with this taping. Looks like tape is in place. I will also always conformal coat my stuff. And this is going to be on the bottom, so I will start with conformal coating. This is more or less the part you get motor mounts to put on the arm. And this exact cut I needed to rip it down a little bit with sandpaper and sand it down because it got really tight. So this will go in like this, and you screw it through here. And you have this part holding the arm like this. So if you ever need to change arms, for example, on a race, this is just the bottom plate. This will go locked through here, and you have the top plate on top. Put it the correct way. If you ever need to change an arm, all you need to do is unscrew the motor. Like if the arm breaks or whatever, unscrew this, and unscrew this, and then you can pop it out, and you can take this one off with the motor on, pop in a new arm, just squeeze it in. It's hard to do it when it's separated like this. It will basically go back in again, screw this on again, and you're on. Let's conformal coat. I'll conformal coat the back side of this one. So we're back, it's dry and nice. And next step now is to make sure that your total stack actually will come together and not be too tall. And I have chosen about like 24mm screws. So I'm going to use this white noise board on top, and I will bring it up through here and bring the white noise here. I'm only going to use 2 because I only need 2, and for the other one I'm just going to use a normal 20mm. So we'll see. I will try to put it together and see how much rubber I need to put in here. Make it lift up so it doesn't go too far down. So the board has been conformal coated, and I placed this Aikon on top. It shows I've been fiddling around with it to get this spring on top without it too much squeezing, and get the top plate on and everything. You probably need to do that as well, just to make sure that your inside of this short part here, because you don't have a lot of space to work with. It's definitely not for the first build you're doing. And I used rubber O-rings in the bottom, so I can really get it down to the bottom plate, and it's like taped and conformal coated, so it shouldn't be a problem. Got it as far down there as I could, and I'm bringing this out on the sides. So I also have space for changing straps if that's needed. And I'm going to conformal coat the top. I'm not doing where I'm going to put on the motors and the plus wires, because I need a cap on it. So just take this part here, and while I was checking, I figured out that the Spring FC is really high. Like, it has this part here, this 100, and it makes it build up just a little bit too much actually. So like, I can screw it down and it will fit, but I don't want it to be sitting too tight. So what I actually did was taking the top plate, and I like scrubbed out tiny piece of carbon here. It's not much, just to make sure that it's freely and not getting any contact with the carbon on the top plate, because then you will have some vibration coming from the top plate down to the FC, and that's not good. So that's how I went to buy it. And I also figured out that I don't have any more of those normal O-rings, so I had to have some motor mounts lying around, like soft mounts. So I cut them off, and I'll use those over the nuts. So you will see. There, arm. There's my scrub. Perfect. Looks fine. Now I have room, it's not tightly fixed in. I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but there's space in between. It should be good. I want to change this. I also need to solder up the flight controller, but like the most important thing about when you're building this is the space, because it's tight. And this might not be the best FC for it, but I want to try the new hype. So I know that this Hyperlight F4 which is made has a flat bottom, and that will probably be a lot easier to work with, because then it's flat, doesn't build up much, so it's basically made for those tight small builds. But yeah, so I'll start soldering up this FC and get it ready. Okay, so the stack is basically done. Sorry for the wiring. A lot of old equipment is going into this, VTXs, and like had to fix up some longer cables here and there, and yeah. But it would look a lot better with new cables, but this is basically what I had, so I think it will work fine. This is how I ended up. Flight controller is free from everything. Still has some conformal coating to dry up on top. So meanwhile we will put these arms together. We'll go through it. There's 2 sets of screws. We have the short one for this part going through. Let me just screw it tightly together. Let's see if this is correct. No. I think that's the right one. There. And this one is for the motor. I don't need to do anything else with this. It looks nice. Then the longer screw for this part. Tight carbon. I'll screw it through. Then same here. Press this in. Drawn. Yeah. Get it on. Tighten it well. There. That's one arm. You do this with all 4. And show you the camera mounting as well. It's pretty straightforward. Different bit for this one. Just slide it in, find a hole through here, good, here, put it in, like this. You get canopies for both. We have made canopies for full-size cameras, and we have made canopies for micro cameras like this one. I'm using an old Sparrow camera because I'm using Dominator V3, so I'm using 16:9 cameras. And this is my bank account is broke. I need to use parts which I've been using this winter, so this has been on my 3-inch, which I've been flying indoor all winter. So basically plug it in here. When it comes to the SMA, I like to place this on the outside like this, so I can change to left hand like this one, or right hand like I want, and I use like zip ties going through here. So, alarms put up, and I haven't put the motors on yet, but the motors I'm going to use on this is Team Rotaro's overall motors. It's the Mjölnir. I don't have we were almost sold out of the V2s, which is almost the same with naked bottom, a little bit thicker shaft, and bigger bearings basically. These ones are also nice. It's a 2308, almost a 2408 actually, and it's 2600 kVs. Battery hungry of course, but give insane amount of power if you like going fast and spin every prop you would like to spin. This is the motor. So let's go on. We have this 30 millimeters to go up from the bottom. Get these cables nicely on the side. Sorry. Put the arm in and do it on all 4 corners. It was not 30 millimeter. Take the top plate and can run the cables through the holes. You don't have to, but I'm going to do it. Then take this. Only thing that can be annoying, they will fall out one after another. So get the nuts on. Too many nuts there. And when you're buying it, you will get a tool to set this on top. It will be easier to get into the part, but I will just show you. It's the wrong way, remember, backside. So like this. This is a bad print, but it should. Slide it down and screw these ones on. And there you basically have it. Okay, so put the motors on, screw it back together and move some cables. Make sure there are nothing squeezing. Got the unifier on and the XXR on top of it. And I put on the zip ties on the back and I'm gonna thread this into the back. Use some heat shrinks on this. It's like really common way of doing it, so nothing new. There it is. Get it on. I'm just using lighter. The other side. Before if I there. Should be good enough. And that's it is. Canopy. Hope I don't have to go and get shorter ones. Plug in the camera before I continue. And I have this. I wonder what kind of pincher this is. It's for it's like feeding pincher actually. If you have spiders or like tarantulas or whatever. There. The camera's in place. Like if you're opening, you basically have to cut this off, but not such a big of a deal. Always having zip ties on the backpack, so. And if you don't, you should. And let's get this placed. Put you on so you don't go anywhere. Looks good. Oh, I hate this part. There. And it's done. Oh, it's not. Sorry. Let's get this down. All the way down. Then this there. are. So that's it. Frame is done. Drone is done. And what you always should do, put your multimeter, a cheap one, it doesn't matter, and double check. And this seems fine, so hopefully there will be no smoke when I plug it in. I'll have to set it up and stuff, but I'm not gonna go through that. This is about the frame, and I will show you there's a pretty neat way of, if you want to fly with GoPro, you can just stick it to here, and this will go really, it should go maybe with a strap that is, actually has this round part. Really bad strap. There we go. You can just strap it down if you want to. So that's it. The teleporter from Rotaro.